Welcome back to the channel, gentlemen. Risk. I want to talk about risk today because I've noticed, as I said, I have been studying some things and it hit me. This video hit me. So I'll be taking some things from it and I'm making videos on it for myself, preferably for myself at the moment. So, risk and tolerance. Risk tolerance. Let's put that. Yeah. I've noticed when I started this channel, I was on top. I was getting after it, doing everything I needed to do, and I've slowly kind of crept back into my shell, could say. So we often put more emphasis on the outcome or the risk, and than is needed or than it actually is. So you want to do something, make the videos. I'm putting it up like, okay, my risk of doing this is up here. Where in actual fact, the reality of it is the risk is here. There's no actual risk to me making a video. It flops. What happens? People dislike it. My life doesn't end because of it, in a sense, right? So pushing that and risk tolerance comes in all sorts of forms, right? So you've got financial, you've got physical, you've got emotional, you've got energetic, right? Your energies that you're doing, that you're bringing in, and most of us in the world now, we operate out of fear. I know myself personally. I operating. Whatever. I'm still busy on the track, so I still operate with some fear in things, which stops me or limits me, or I limit myself because of that fear. So there's a lot of things, let's take financially, right? I don't take financial risk in a sense of, it's too risky to invest in that course, or it's too risky to buy that book, because then I'm out of that pocket, money's out of my pocket, and then, stuff like that. Or I want to invest because then it could go wrong. Whereas I would say you still need to have, within reason, some kind of risk to up your game, and some kind of investment. Investing in yourself is probably the best. If you're starting out, the best investment you can make is in yourself, learning things. Physical, there's obviously physical risk. You don't want to hurt yourself, but you need to push yourself to grow physically. So if that's exercising, you've got to push yourself to tear those muscles in order for them to repair and grow and get better and stronger, right? Same with there's emotional risk of being honest. For example, for me personally, with the nice guy and everything, I often sugarcoat or try to twist my words so it doesn't get taken as offensive. Where So the risk here for me would be, if I am completely honest, the risk is that someone might be offended, right? As an example, which should be there. You don't need to be an asshole about it, but you should be able to be honest and direct, not sugarcoating in a sense. And you don't have to be mean. You don't have to say word mean ways, right? And so the point is that most men, myself included, feel that the risks they are taking in life are actually more riskier than what they are. Another example is, just that comes to the top of my head here, is I was talking about this with a friend. Um, the risk of work, right? So I'm a teacher in Thailand. I think everyone knows that. And there's two options here. I can go directly with the school, or I can go with an agency. And there's this debate that's been going on, which is better, which is more riskier, which is more stable. And everyone keeps on saying, from my experience or from what I've heard, that going direct to a school is safer and more stable than being with an agency. However, I beg to make the argument They are exactly the same. At any time the school decides they don't want you, you're out. Whereas the difference with the agency then is they can always place you in another school, right? But with being direct, what is the alternative? You find another school yourself. So it's technically, to me, they're both the same risk. Just depends what you want more, right? But yeah. So anyway, side that was a side note, side tracking there. Um, so yeah, my point was we don't, as men in the current world, in my opinion, we don't have enough actual risk. What is the correct perceived risk and the actual risk, right? We have this massive perceived risk of something instead of the actual risk of it is non-existent, right? In certain things, um, obviously some things do have, but I think most men. I don't think there's really any men that will go to the extreme risk of things. The men that I'm talking to at the moment. Otherwise, you wouldn't be on this channel, I don't think. Um, could be wrong, but yeah, because those types of men, they push things to the extreme. But most of us don't. Most of us underperform rather than overperform or take under risk. But yeah, it was just something I'm working on. My thoughts on it now, because I need to start doing more risks in my life. So with the channel, I've got to risk more things. I've got to get up and do more things, do more videos. I've got to building the community. Like that's been kind of on the back burner at the moment. And I do think it's probably because I do have the fear of the risk of failing at this, at making a community. Um, but yeah, so as I said, this was just a thought, impromptu, seeing how it goes. And I thought I'll just talk about it because it is something on my mind. But yeah, see you. Thanks for the video. Cheers.